It's official. We back for another episode of Flipping Tables with Dee-1. I like to apologize if y'all been following this on a weekly basis. I got sick last week, y'all. So I got to do a better job of taking care of my health to get my immune system stronger. But I was really sick last week, so I didn't drop an episode last week. But I'm back in full effect. At this point, I'm about 96% healthy, working my way up to 100. And it's great to see y'all again. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So today, we're actually talking about a very serious topic. But before we get into that topic, we're going to start off with a prayer, as always. Father God, thank you so much for allowing us to come together to listen to and watch this podcast. Lord, this is an opportunity for me to shine light on a very important issue that I think is plaguing our entire community right now, including multiple generations at this point. Lord, just speak through me, speak clearly through me, and remove any strongholds that may prevent people from truly receiving this message. You heard me? I'm so grateful for the platform and for the opportunity that you have every day that I'm alive to use me and to use whoever's listening. You heard me? In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Yeah. Oh, man, I'm excited. All right, y'all. Like I said, it's a very serious topic. Lil Durk, you might call him arguably the king of drill rap. You know, Lil Durk, long story short, he got arrested this week. Huge rapper. If any of y'all are just vaguely familiar with him, he is a multi-platinum artist. He's from out of Chicago. And he got arrested this week on murder for hire charges. So just to bring y'all up to speed, Lil Durk has had well-publicized beef with a rapper from my state, you heard me, NBA Youngboy, for years. And amidst them beefing, by the way, currently Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy are both locked up in jail. So for anybody watching this, especially in the younger artists who might be watching this, or just younger people who might be listening to this podcast, just think about that. Think about the people that your generation is listening to, looking up to, the beef that gets promoted and pushed so heavily. Look at the end result. We're starting to see the end result of this music and of this lifestyle play out right in front of our face. You heard me? Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy had beef for a long time. They actually started out being cool with each other. Then Lil Durk's cousin, King Von, another rapper from out of Chicago, ended up getting murdered because he got into a fight with NBA Youngboy's artist, Quando Rondo. And long story short, all I'm hearing is black men losing their life, black men inflicting violence upon other black men. I'm recalling fans being super invested into this because fans start to root for these rappers the same way they rooting for their favorite basketball team. Same way they rooting for their favorite football team, you know. So the fans get overly invested into this beef. For a lot of the fans, this is nothing but entertainment, right? But long story short, after King Von got killed, there was a lot of pressure from fans online telling Lil Durk, go slide for Von. You heard me? 3 words. Slide for Von. Slide for Von. Slide for Von. That's street terminology for, you know, go and kill either Quando Rondo or one of Quando Rondo's people to get revenge and retaliate for your cousin King Von getting killed. And this is what hip-hop fans are overly invested in nowadays, is that type of rhetoric, right? So, sure enough, Quando Rondo's cousin, young brother, I think named Lil Pab or something like that, he ended up getting killed, ended up getting murdered in Los Angeles. And here we are. Now, Lil Durk has been arrested on murder for hire charges. They are alleging that he paid for this to happen and that he arranged for this to happen. So I was really encouraged by an article that I saw in Rolling Stone. Shout out to the author of this article. His name is Andre G. He wrote an article the other day that said, Lil Durk's murder arrest shows drill rap is a dead end. It's just that simple. A big publication like Rolling Stone, I appreciate them publishing this article because the subtitle says fans egged on the circumstances surrounding Durk's alleged murder for hire plot for years. Fans, shame on y'all. Shame on any fans who egg this type of stuff on and just want this to end with some more blood being shed, right? You ain't nothing but a fan. You're not involved in this for real. And I understand how the plot goes because the fans will say, well, we just telling the artists to do what they said they were already going to do. Or we just telling the artists to do what they said they're already wired to do. Like that's the type of lifestyle they live. You take one of mine, I take one of yours type stuff, right? That'll be the excuse that fans use. Well, the harsh reality, y'all, is that drill rap is a dead end. It is a dead end. For those who not familiar with the origins of drill rap was created in Chicago. Drill rap is something that, is highly characterized by being very aggressive, by being something where lyrics that are glorifying murder and celebrating murder and often chronicling like these ongoing street beefs. These lyrics are highly publicized and these lyrics are normalized, right? So then you put a fire beat underneath it, you put a catchy chorus, you put social conditions to where people have a taste for violence and people have a desire to be messy, and you got bloggers and online media outlets that are excited to make a career and a brand off of publicizing these type of beefs and everything. And what do? You get a whole scene of music that's just glorifying us killing us. A whole scene of that music. And you get people that they call the kings of drill rap. And you get people who got millions and millions of followers and millions of dollars off of glorifying the murder of other people in their communities, in their cities, in their hoods, right? And person after person gets murdered. So many people have gotten murdered. There was an outcry a few years ago because a young brother, I think his name was Nidhi Osama, he had gotten murdered in New York, and there was a popular dance online, a drill rap song, and a popular dance that was made to go with it, to where it was reenacting the motion of him getting stabbed to death, And by the way, this young brother was 14 years old. So when all of this has existed and become more and more prevalent, we've actually gotten to a point nowadays where if you say something out against this stuff, people will say that you are hating, and people will say whatever they got to say to try to minimize your voice. But now that the most famous, most popular drill rapper, Lil Durk is a star at this point. He's just a star. I think he's bigger than even being a drill rapper. He's just a star. Now that he has gone down, we got to take a hard look at this. Drill rap is a dead end. It's a dead end for drill rappers. If any drill rapper believes in God, then if you believe in the Bible, Proverbs 18:21 states that there is life and death in the power of the tongue. So if you are constantly glorifying and glamorizing murdering people and fantasizing about murdering people and reflecting upon murdering people and constantly putting this out there verbally, right? That's the power of the tongue at its finest. You putting this out there, and what you think is going to happen ultimately? Like, you putting that type of negative energy out there. I know a lot of people who have unfortunately murdered somebody and taken someone's life. And when I say a lot of people, I had to pause for a second, but it's actually a fact. I know a lot of people who have served time for murdering people before. I know people who went to trial for it and they ended up beating the trial and, coming out innocent. But ultimately, I don't know anybody who positively speaks about them murdering somebody and who brags about it. I don't know people who have done that aren't sorry about that stuff and that reflect upon that stuff and wish that it could have gone differently. That's what I know of people who have murdered someone, right? And it's just it's sad when there's this whole emphasis now on, even if you didn't murder somebody, being able to talk about it and make it sound so sexy and so appealing, knowing that you ain't even like that. You've never even done that, right? That's scary that exists. But what's even more scary is that for people who may actually be living that life, there is a level of cockiness that often comes along with, I would say, the drill rap scene, to where people are like, yo, not only did I do this, but I'm going to brag about it. I'm going to brag about it and I'm going to publicize it in music because I feel like I'm above the law, right? When you got people, man, I'm just saying, I know people who have unfortunately murdered somebody, and with them taking a person's life, it's not something that they're excited to go and brag about. The people who I know personally, some of these people I have taught them in school before. Some of these people, I just know them from the music industry. Some of them, like, I've met them just randomly, but then we ended up forming a relationship. And the one thing they all have in common is that they are not excited to speak about that stuff. They're definitely not excited to brag about that stuff. But the drill rap scene has created a reward system to where fans and labels have gotten to the point to where they incentivize artists to brag about murders that they have either committed or that they want to give off the perception that they have committed. You know, imagine wanting to brag, man, bro, we really live in the Twilight Zone, like in real life. Imagine wanting to brag about killing somebody and you have never killed anybody, but that makes you feel good because a reward system has been created to where people feel like you're that much more of a man, or you that much more of a G, or you that much more of a real one. You heard me? Because you give off the perception that you have killed somebody before, right? And then I remember, I just try to bring a sense of sober-minded normalcy and normalcy and realness to these conversations, right? So I remember talking with my man back home on Instagram Live, a blogger in my city, and I remember out of everything we talked about, I was basically saying these young men be feeling this pressure to have to give off a vibe that ain't even real to them. Like, it's not real if you have not done that stuff before, but if you talk in first person like you have killed somebody, it's not, right? And when I brought this up, and I brought this up specifically about people who we all grew up listening to in my city, the Hot Boys, and me asking, like, brother, do you honestly think that those brothers have ever killed somebody before? Guess what? People try to take that clip and run with that on some, see, Dee-1 trying to snitch. Dee-1 just trying to get people caught up. And people's brains are so warped and in such a bad, negative, dark, low place that people are focused on that angle as opposed to the angle of, nah, like, the reality is, if we keeping it real, like, Santa Claus does not exist. You feel me? Like, at what point do we really think that all these rappers have really killed people? All the rappers who be rapping about that stuff, at what point do we really, like, believe that, right? And at what point do we just be like, let's call a spade a spade? Most of these people lying. And the ones who not lying, their mental health is in a horrible place if they're bragging about what they did. Their mental, they need therapy, they need prayer, they need help if they're bragging about that stuff. If they're bragging about that stuff to the point where they want to make a career off of that, right? So we either feel like there's a bunch of serial killers in hip hop and all these hip hop fans are running around really believing that. And listen, a lot of y'all who listening to this, y'all grown at this point. Y'all are grown, so you should know that Santa Claus is not real. When I was in first grade, I think second grade back in New Orleans, there was a time where I still thought Santa Claus was real. And I remember getting up in front of my class and going to bat with everybody in the class, arguing with them that Santa Claus was real. And I remember them all like calling the teacher and telling the teacher, like, this dude David thinks Santa Claus is real. And I legit thought Santa Claus was real. And then by the way the teacher looked and by her body language, I could read body language well even back then, I was able to tell that, like, wow, Santa Claus is not real. And I figured that out for the first time. For all these grown hip hop fans, man, y'all know Santa Claus not real. Just like y'all know that all these rappers are not murderers. Like, y'all know that. So stop acting like you don't. So let's call a spade and let's confront the fact that so many rappers feel comfortable talking like they are murderers. You feel me? And stop making excuses for people and acting like, oh, no, they just talking about what they seen. No, you got ears, you not deaf. I'm talking about the ones who talk in first person, who talk that murder talk in first person, like that's them that have committed these crimes and have done these things and have murked people, you heard me, and got bodies under their belt. Man, stop. Let's call a spade a spade. Santa Claus not real. Now let's get to the next point. For the people who are rapping about this stuff and have done that, let's get to the point to where we say, oh, they need help. Like, they need help. Well, first of all, if they committed these crimes and if this wasn't something to where this is a verifiable act of self-defense that would be acquitted in the court of law, and if they just committed these crimes, you know, for whatever reason under the sun, right? Isn't that something that we shouldn't be proud of? Isn't that something that we shouldn't be celebrating? Isn't that something that should be prosecuted? Like, just in real life, like, let's keep it 100. Isn't it? Right? Because if your family member was the victim of one of these murders, would you want to be like, nah, but the person who did it is my favorite rapper, so of course they deserve to be innocent. Free them, free him, free them, free the guys, free the gang, free such and such, free such and such. Man, if y'all don't shut that foolishness up, man, do y'all hear yourselves? Come out the matrix. Please come out the matrix, man. Please come out the matrix. Murder music hit different when somebody in my crew died. The biggest gangsters in rap got blind hair and blue eyes. We getting pimped. What y'all want to do, guys? Your new single just dropped? Yay. Time to entertain us with new lies. That's what it is. The biggest gangsters in rap got blind hair and blue eyes. It's people who work at these labels, who would never let their own kids listen to this music in a million years, never let their kids follow or worship or look up to or idolize these rappers, but they will sign these rappers to record labels. They will put money, marketing dollars behind these rappers' music, and they will watch these rappers fall off the face of the earth. They'll watch their demise. They'll watch them get locked up. They'll watch them get killed. They probably won't even go to the funeral. But even if they do go to the funeral, I mean, you played a role in causing the funeral, record label executive. So even if you do go to the funeral, so what? And some of y'all black too. So I said the biggest gangsters in rap got blind hair and blue eyes. Oh no, some of y'all black too. Let's not make it seem like it's just strictly a white plot on blackness. Because at this point, man, we just got an evil plot on godliness. You feel me? A devilish plot on God's plan. And you got people that's falling for it. And why are they falling for it? For a green piece of paper. A freaking green piece of paper that your perverted self has become a slave to. And now that you've become a slave to that green piece of paper, you will directly or indirectly contribute to the demise of a whole generation. Do better. You heard me? Do better. With the Lil Durk, by the way, with all this happening, I thought I should bring up the fact that y'all know that for the past few years, like, more and more rappers, because rap is continuing to grow and expand, right? More and more rappers are getting killed every year. And many of the rappers who end up getting murdered every year, I'll give you a hint. What do you think most of their content is about when they rap? What do you think most of their content is about? Most of the rappers who end up getting murdered. What do you think most of their content is about? It's about murder. It's about glorifying the streets. Straight up. So I just want y'all to reflect on this for a second, all right? As we get back to this Lil Durk case, I want y'all to know that in life, things happen that are meant to wake us up. So I pray that Lil Durk can be woken up during this time. He's currently in jail. I pray that he can be woken up and just fully realize that it's about totally denouncing the lifestyle that he grew up around, the lifestyle that was popularized in the music he listened to, the lifestyle that he oftentimes glorified in the music that he created. It's about totally denouncing that. The power of denouncing something is very crucial to understand. If you don't get to the point where you denounce a previous lifestyle and you want to just kind of silently grow past it, then you don't create a teachable moment for everyone else, and your repentance is oftentimes not even sincere. If you're not willing to denounce what you previously glorified, what you previously participated in, what you previously thought was real, you feel me? So there's a whole generation of hip-hop artists right now. Shout out to my man, Mr. Servon, by the way. I was on Instagram Live yesterday. For any of y'all that follow me on Instagram, it's Dee-1 Music, D-E-E, the number 1 music. We just hit 700,000 followers on there. That's really dope. The dope thing about my Instagram following is they're really active. So like they do really well with calls to action. So because of them, we also just hit like 193,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So we're working on getting up to 200,000, man. So if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed to my YouTube, it's Dee-1 Music, D-E-E, the number 1 music. And last night I was on Instagram Live. My man, Mr. Servon, came on there as I was speaking about the Lil Durk situation. And he said that his generation failed us. So Mr. Servon is probably like late 40s, maybe early 50s, right? And he admitted that his generation of rappers failed us. Mr. Servon is a platinum rapper from my city, from New Orleans, who was signed to Master P's label, No Limit Records. And I appreciate Mr. Servon so much for saying that his generation failed us. And what he means is they didn't do a good enough job of telling us which way not to go. They didn't do a good enough job denouncing the lifestyle that they glorified in their music, that made them rich, that made them successful. See, they were probably the first generation to get caught up in the plot from the music industry to where they were incentivized, immensely incentivized, right? Like they had a lot of money put into them as long as they were willing to push that negativity. And they've grown older. For those that are still alive, they haven't died. For those that aren't in jail, a lot of them have seen what's up right now. For those of y'all that's watching this, y'all see I got my grandpa on my neck today. I'm excited that I got my chain and my pendant with Papa on it. Feel real good, man. Feel real good. I love my man Papa so much. But he said they failed us. And I'm like, you know what? We need more people that's willing to admit that. But also, we just need more people that's willing to come out and denounce what they previously glorified. So that's my challenge to all of the OGs in hip-hop. First of all, I'm going to say this loud and clear to all the OGs in hip-hop. Make sure you're an OG and not a DG. You heard me? A DG is a disappointing grown-up. And we got a lot of DGs in hip hop because you've grown older in age, but not in maturity. You heard me? So you got OGs versus DGs right now. I want all the OGs to really accept this salute right now, this triple salute. You heard me? Because we got OGs that's teaching the youngins the right way to go and teaching them to stay away from the wrong way. They got the ears of the youngins and they using that to their advantage to push them in the right direction. But you got DGs who still just want to fit in, who still just chasing relevance. So they're willing to do anything they gotta do, be as ignorant as possible to go it on and still be relevant or make some money. And they know who they are, man. And we finally got a name for y'all. You not an OG, you a DG. You a disappointing grown-up. We finally got a name for y'all. It's just like, don't think you an OG just because you older. You feel me? No, you a DG. And if you don't want to be a DG forever, then you could shift to OG status. But part of that comes along with, man, you got to actually know what's right, and you got to be willing to speak what's right and do what's right. Not because it's going to always financially just benefit you, but because it's the right thing to do for the younger generation, for the next generation. You heard me? OGs versus DGs. It's a war going on inside hip hop right now, straight up. So my challenge to all of the older generation of artists is to denounce what you previously glorified, because now y'all are old enough to see that what you were glorifying was something that is negative for our community and negative for humanity. They taught you and they incentivized you, the music industry did, incentivized you to glorify murder, to glorify drug dealing, glorify disrespecting women, and glorify sexual irresponsibility. They taught y'all that, and they got y'all. They got most of y'all. But now y'all are older, and by the grace of God, if you still free and you still alive, you're not dead or in jail, man, denounce that stuff. If you're not willing to denounce that stuff, then you really just, you just trying to ride the fence. And you ain't bold enough yet. You ain't bold enough yet to denounce that stuff. That's why I salute the people that denounce that stuff, man. I salute the people that, like the Styles P's of the world. I salute the Mr. Servons of the world. The Max of the world, you heard me? I salute the people like that denounce that type of stuff, man. Straight up. I had a very dope conversation over the weekend with my man Beanie Sigel out of Philadelphia. We sat on a panel together, vote or else, right? Encouraging our community, specifically the black community, to get out to vote, because the turnout rates are often extremely low in the black community when it comes to voting. And as we sat on this panel and spoke, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. As I was speaking for the first time, we had like 20 people on the panel: Benny the Butcher, Mike Vick, Killer Mike, Tamika Mallory, Beanie Sigel, Dee-1, Wayno, more people than that, right? When I actually spoke on the panel for the first time, let me say it again. When I actually spoke on the panel for the first time, as I was talking, I knew that my points were just connecting with people, right? And I was looking at the audience, but out the corner of my eye, I saw Beanie Sigel. Keep in mind, I grew up listening to Beanie Siegel's music. Some of his songs like actually helped get me through school. You know, I've actually cried real life tears to some of his songs, specifically one called Look at Me Now, right? And that's a whole nother episode right there. And when I was speaking and I was just in my bag and I was just passionately coming from the heart, I saw Beans like lean up in his chair and like look at me and start to nod his head, right? So we hadn't spoken before then. We ain't speak backstage or anything like that. But to see that when I was speaking, ooh, that felt like when you a kid and you playing baseball or you playing basketball and you look up in them bleachers and you see your big brother looking at you and he clapping, or you see your mama or your daddy or your grandpa or your uncle or somebody looking at you and they just giving you that look, and you out there on the field, you know that stuff make you turn up. That stuff make you turn all the way up. That's how I felt when Beanie was just like really locked in with what I was saying, right? So after the panel went great. Make sure y'all get out to vote. The panel was extremely powerful. After the panel, me and Beans had a conversation outside. Thankfully, shout out to my homegirl Taylor. Thankfully, she caught that mug on camera, and I posted part of the conversation to my Instagram. You know, it means a lot when people can see that the younger generation is fearlessly dedicated to leading us in the right direction. It means a lot. And sometimes it takes that to unlock something in the OGs. You feel me? In the older generation. So I'm proud that I could be one of those people who some of the older hip hop artists look at and they be like, that young brother. I mean, Beanie told me, he said, man time. You heard me? When he tap you on your chest, when he beat you on your chest and say, man time. You heard me? Don't compromise. Don't back down. Woo! When Beanie Sigel tapped me on my chest, pound me on my chest, and say, man time, don't compromise, don't back down. After hearing me speak on that panel, after my words made him look at me and give me that nod of approval, woo! Boy, what? That stuff gets you like, oh man, yeah, let's go. Let's keep going, you heard me? Let's keep going. So man, if you young, man, don't be afraid to do what you know is right in your heart, man. Stand for something. Stand up for righteousness. Stand up for God. Stand up for being real, being righteous, and being relevant in this world, man. You're going to inspire people in your generation, people younger than you, and people older than you, man. Somebody got to have the courage to do it. And for all the older artists or the people who was once living a certain way and now you done grown past that by the grace of God, man, denounce that old lifestyle, man. Denounce that lifestyle, man. Because when people hear you denounce something that you previously glorified, oh, man, that's a testimony like you'll never understand. Woo! That's when lives change. That's when generations change. That's when the paradigm shifts. You understand me? We talking right now. We flipping tables, man. We flipping tables, man. Call it like it is, you heard me? Straight up. That's when you flip them tables. Because the industry, the powers that be, the devil himself don't want to see that. They want to keep people silent or they want to keep people ignorant. One of the two. And when you're neither one, when you're like, no, I'm loud and I'm intelligent. I'm loud and I'm wise. I'm a child of the Most High. What you mean? I'm only fearing God. I ain't fearing none of what social media finna think about me or what my old fans finna think about me. When you start moving like that and you start talking like that and you start rapping like that and you start acting like that, man, that's when we start attacking. That's when we start flipping tables, you heard me? That's what we gotta do, man. People think this really a game out here. They got so many people listening to music on a daily basis and that music is raising them. That music is teaching them, man. We flipping tables, man. Shoot, we gonna call it like it is, man. Stop playing with us. Look, y'all, I'm about to get out of here. Y'all be cool. This ain't nothing but another episode of Flipping Tables with D1. You heard me? This the podcast. Make sure you subscribed on all the audio platforms. Make sure you following it on the audio platforms. You heard me? That's Apple, Spotify, all that. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel in case you watching this. You heard me? DEE, the #1 music. YouTube.com/D1 music. Man, let's go, man. Share this with somebody, man. Let's go. You heard me? Drill rap is a dead end. Glorifying killing people is a dead end, man. Trap music is a dead end. Glorifying selling dope is a dead end, man. We need some people to stand up and denounce that stuff, even if they got rich off of that stuff. Denounce that stuff, man. Read your word, man. They got people who denounced that stuff in the past, what they previously was on or known for. It's called maturity, man. That denouncing, whoo, that denouncing is when you really announcing to the world that you're a man on a mission to please God, first and foremost, that you're a woman on a mission to please God. When you denounce what gave the devil glory. Yeah, let me say it again. When you denounce what gave let me say that again. When you denounce what gave the devil glory, then you announce that you are on a mission to please God first before anybody. You heard me? And you truly turning a new leaf, turning a new chapter, and you flipping tables. You heard me? That's what we doing, man. I'm going to holler at y'all next episode, man. Y'all be cool. Y'all make sure y'all get my new album loaded out right now on all streaming platforms. Full of that fire. Let's go.